All right, this week we're going to be beginning the third module, and we're going to be focusing just on hunger. The syllabus says we'll be doing hunger and sleep, but I've actually moved sleep to the week after spring break. So the reading load is actually pretty light. So in terms of your tasks, let's go ahead and move to the learning materials, because there's a few things that are going to be familiar and then also a few things that might be just a little bit new. So, of course, you have your reading guide here, not that much in the reading, and I am encouraging you to take a look at both the required video on effective physicians, and this is looking at a technique known as motivational interviewing. This is a strategy that was created for working with people who have substance abuse issues, but it's also been used by nurses and physicians to motivate folks who really need to make a change or would be healthier if they made a change to, let's say, smoking or weight or drug use, risky sexual behaviors, etc. And then I've also included as optional the contrast, which is how most physicians and many nurses will often engage with patients. So that's optional. And then if you want to learn a little bit more about motivational interviewing, and this will be relevant to the discussion board this week, there are some specific strategies to help patients with weight management. Now, going back here, because the textbook reading is fairly light and there were many more things that I wanted you to consider, I have also included several different readings. So everybody will take a look at the case of patient GW. This is what you will need to know or need to use for your discussion board. But then also each of you has been assigned one article. So you can see each article has an indicator of its number. So then to find out what number you are, you would go to the group page, and you can see right here, blue group, each person has a number by their name. That means you are responsible for just one of these articles. Obviously, you're welcome to read any others that you want, but you are specifically responsible for one of those articles. And I'm doing this so that each person might come to the discussion with a slightly different perspective. All right, so regarding the actual task for the discussion board, you can see that there is a document that you can open up, so I'll pull that up right now. And so what you will be doing is reviewing that case of GW, that was the one in the readings for the Finding Wellness discussion. And then you will use information from the textbook, that particular article you were assigned, as well as that effective physician video. And you will provide a post that addresses the chief problem as you see it in the GW situation. And that, I want to draw your attention to this, it's due Wednesday evening. It's due a little bit earlier because you are expected to do several different things with your responses. And I will also say that this is a situation where you will not be able to see what other people post until after you provide your post. All right, then your responses, and you have until Sunday as usual to do your responses. One is just the usual commenting on what other people have said, to add to some new ideas, maybe bring in insights that you gained from your reading, maybe comparing what they got out of their reading, what you got out of yours. But then also, in addition to those two responses, you are also expected to provide possible solutions. So I will go in and I will compile Thursday morning all of the different problems that people brought up in their discussion board posts, and I'll compile a list. And then I am expecting you to respond to that to offer up a particular solution. It might be a solution that could be achieved through a nursing intervention or a physician's task or a referral to somebody else. It might be a solution that involves a change in the healthcare system or maybe even in society. So you can go at any level of analysis, but the goal will be to offer up a particular solution. All right, so that is your task for the specific topic for this week, the hunger, weight management, perceptions of obesity. And then we move into more course general tasks. So if you wanted to resubmit your WITS notes, if you earned below a 36 out of 40, below an A, you're welcome to resubmit your notes using this link right here. Everybody then is expected to submit their outline by Sunday night. I have the expectations here as well as the outline. And you can see I've pulled up the expectations, and I did provide a sample outline, but this also includes the rubric. The reason why I'm having you do an outline is because research indicates, published research, as well as just some observations I've made over the last several semesters, indicates that the process of doing an outline, the thinking that goes into that, dramatically enhances the quality of the final paper. even more so than writing a rough draft and getting instructor feedback on that rough draft. Something about the process of doing that organization is really powerful. So in your outline, I want to see your actual thesis statement. Some people have difficulty writing a thesis statement, so I want to see that before the final paper. And then you will also have a clearly organized outline, and I encourage you to organize by topic rather than by source. And so you will have a main bullet point for at least some of these. You may combine them in a different way. Maybe you end up combining symptoms and sense of self together. Maybe relationships goes along with some of the symptoms. That's fine. But as long as there is a clearly organized set of topics in your paper, that's great. And then you're also going to indicate the main points of research. You don't need to list out the whole piece. You can, but you don't need to. But it should say maybe point about hitting rock bottom after heroin use from Josiah 829. All right, so you don't have to tell me everything that Josiah said, but I know that you're getting a point from Josiah. And the reason why I'm asking you to do this is because it encourages you to think about where you want to put your different pieces of information, but it also allows me to make sure that you have at least 2 sources for every one of these key topics. And I have encouraged you to organize by topic and not source by adding part of the rubric grade for that. Now I've pulled up the sample outline, and this goes along with one of the sample papers that I provided. You can see that she's written the thesis here. And then each one of these major bullet points is a different paragraph in the paper. Now this was a paper that went above and beyond the expectation, so you're not expected necessarily to have quite the length that this person did. But I want to draw your attention to the fact that I've given a bullet point to the phrase topic sentence. This author the author of this paper is a strong writer, and so I think she understood that really when you write a paper, you want each paragraph to start off with a topic sentence that introduces the reader to what you're going to be discussing, and then every paragraph ends with a brief summary and a bit of reflection from you, the author. And so you can see that I've just put that in there as a bit of a placeholder. And then in each paragraph, I know it's going to be a comment from Graham, a comment from Cindy, a comment from Haley, etc. So I can get a good feeling just by looking at this outline what the author's paper is actually going to look like. If you want support and feedback on writing the outline, I'm happy to look at what you have. If you want to send me a partial draft earlier in the week just to make sure that you're on the right track, I'm happy to give you some feedback. All right, then the other course general thing that you need to do, of course, is the second exam. The exam does have 41 multiple choice questions. One of them is extra credit. You have basically 2 minutes per question. Same thing as we've done in the past. There are 2 attempts available, but you really only should be using that second attempt if you had some kind of technical problem that prevented you from successfully submitting it in the first place. So you have a number of different tasks this week. And so originally I was saying that you needed your blog responses to be completed by the end of week 10, by the end of this week. But because week 10 is fairly heavy with these different course general activities, I've given you to the end of spring break to do those responses. If you do have questions on any of these tasks, absolutely reach out to me, send me a text or an email. And I look forward to reading your contributions on the discussion board. Have a great week.